Imagine a world where one superpower rules supreme, a civilization so mighty it seems invincible. This was Rome in 216 BC, a republic forged in steel and discipline, convinced of its own destiny. But on a dusty plain in southern Italy, that destiny was about to be challenged by a single man and an army that defied all odds. This is the story of the Battle of Cannae, the day Rome was brought to its knees. The Roman Republic was a juggernaut. It had conquered lands, absorbed cultures, and built an army that was the envy of the ancient world. When they learned that the Carthaginian general Hannibal was on their soil, they responded with overwhelming force. 80,000 soldiers, a legionary force of unprecedented size, marched south. Their commanders, Varro and Paulus, were confident. How could they not be? They had discipline, they had armor, and most importantly, they had the numbers. Against them stood a foreign invader with a smaller, seemingly ragtag army. For Rome, victory was not a possibility. It was a certainty. But Hannibal was no ordinary general. He was a military genius, a man who had crossed the Alps with elephants and now commanded a loyal army of 50,000 men from diverse lands. His forces were a mix of Libyans, Iberians, and Gauls, each with their own fighting style. Where Rome saw a mismatched rabble, Hannibal saw a fine-tuned instrument of war. Every soldier, from the swift Numidian cavalry on the flanks to the infantry at the center, understood his role in the masterpiece of destruction Hannibal was about to conduct. He wasn't just planning a battle, he was setting a trap. The stage was set at Cannae, a wide, open plain, seemingly perfect for the Roman legions to deploy their massive formations. As the morning sun climbed high, the air grew thick with dust and tension. The Romans, eager to crush the impudent invader, began their advance. Their disciplined lines surged forward like a great wave, aiming to smash through the Carthaginian center and end the war in a single, decisive blow. The sound was deafening, the tramp of thousands of sandals, the clank of armor, and the roar of Roman war cries. This was the moment Hannibal had been waiting for. He had deliberately arranged his army in a shallow crescent, with his weakest troops, the Gauls and Spanish, forming a bulging center. He ordered them to give ground slowly, to bend but not break under the Roman onslaught. The Romans surged forward, smelling blood. Their legions pressed deeper and deeper, convinced they were winning as the Carthaginian line buckled. They were funneling themselves into a kill zone, oblivious to the fact that their greatest strength, their unstoppable forward momentum, was being used against them. As the Romans pushed further in, the trap began to close. On the wings, Hannibal's elite cavalry, led by his brother Mago and the brilliant commander Maharbo, crashed into their Roman counterparts. The Roman cavalry, outmaneuvered and overwhelmed, quickly broke and fled, leaving the flanks of their infantry completely exposed. Hannibal's horsemen then wheeled around, sweeping behind the entire Roman army, completing the first phase of the encirclement. The Roman commanders, caught in the chaos of the infantry fight, were too late to react. Suddenly, the Roman advance ground to a halt. The jaws of the trap snapped shut. Hannibal's veteran African infantry, who had been held in reserve on the flanks, pivoted inward, slamming into the sides of the new exposed Roman legions. The Carthaginian cavalry sealed the rear. The vast Roman army was no longer a fighting force. It was a panicked, densely packed crowd, surrounded on all sides. There was no room to swing a sword, no space to raise a shield, no direction to flee. Chaos erupted. Men were crushed by the sheer pressure of their own comrades, suffocated in their heavy armor under the blistering sun, and cut down mercilessly by an enemy striking from every direction. What followed was one of the single most horrific slaughters in military history. For hours, the killing continued. The once proud Roman legions, the conquerors of the known world, were butchered where they stood. By sunset, the field of Cannae was a vision of hell. Up to 50,000 Roman soldiers lay dead, their bodies piled so high it was said you could walk across the battlefield without touching the ground. Thousands more were captured. Rome had lost not just an army, but an entire generation of its fighting men, including one of its consuls and 80 senators. The news of the defeat sent a shockwave of terror through Rome. The city fell into a panic. For the first time in its history, the Republic faced the very real possibility of total annihilation. But Hannibal, despite his earth-shattering victory, chose not to march on Rome itself. decision debated by historians for centuries. The Battle of Cannae became the gold standard for tactical genius. Hannibal's use of the double envelopment, luring a superior force into a trap and destroying it, would be studied by generals for the next 2,000 years. From Scipio Africanus to Napoleon Bonaparte to Norman it proved that in war, audacity, strategy, and leadership could triumph over sheer brute force. Though Rome would eventually recover, regroup, and go on to win the war, the ghost of Cannae would forever haunt its psyche. It was a brutal, unforgettable lesson that no power, no matter how great, is truly invincible. The battle remains a testament to one of history's greatest military minds, and a chilling reminder that on a single day, the fate of an empire can be decided not by its size, but by the brilliance of its greatest enemy. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into history, be sure to like and subscribe for more.